The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Y'all ready for this?
It is Wednesday, October 17th, 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That means it's time for another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. My name is Bill Miller, co-host along with
Jeff Belknap.
And with us each and every week, we bring you our views on sports, also with some help from some friends of the show, local prep athletes and coaches and staff, and this week, hopefully, we will not be any different. But before we get started, we're anticipating being joined shortly by our buddy down in the ATL, Torrance Hall, our NBA guru.
Yes.
Who was on last week's show where we had an opportunity to talk football, and it just went a lot longer than what we thought.
Yeah.
Really didn't have an opportunity to talk NBA. So, obviously the NBA season has just started, so Torrance Hall is our current NBA guru.
Yes.
I don't think we have any others. And so we're hopefully going to be joined by him, get his views. But Torrance is, in addition to being a master chef,
yes,
and we'll get into that. But he also is everything that breathes ATL. He's not bashful about it, a true fan, and he just seems to live and die by whatever's going on down there in Georgia.
Obviously, if you're a Hawks fan, you are really a true fan because
you got to be a fan.
Don't have a whole lot going on. But hey, just to kind of jump back to last week to the LSU game, we had
Yes, we did.
Cardell Thomas on
Cardell
last
Thomas,
night.
Yeah.
And he actually said that he really thought that LSU was going to beat Georgia.
Yep.
I didn't really have a lot of confidence in that, but they really played well.
They did.
And they are going to be a problem for whoever they play at the rest of the year.
Yeah, and which is kind of typical of the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you really don't get very many weeks off.
Right.
Hats off, by the way, to LSU.
Yeah.
Great win, and for Cordell, I'm sure he was down there on the sideline, rooting them on down there in the in LSU big house. Still not tailgating, and let's keep that. The young man is still underage, and but I'm sure given his size and the fact that he is still growing. He's one of these young men I'd rather clothe than feed.
That's right.
I'm sure on any given day. But I think we may have Torrance on the line with us now. Torrance, are you there?
Yep, I'm here, Bill. How you doing?
All right, man. Long time no hear from, huh? Only a week.
1 week.
Oh man. Well, thank you again for taking time to join us. I realize that it is halftime of the Knicks and Hawks. Were you watching that game by any chance?
Actually, I wasn't. I was out and about with the family and everything, so
okay. I
wasn't able to catch it, but I will finish it.
All right, no problem. I'm not going to share anything with you.
Yeah, don't be in a big hurry. That's all, sure.
Hey, man, we got Trey all day, man. Little Steph Curry, Steph gonna do his thing.
Hopefully, he plays some defense because just to give you a little, just to give you a little hint, just to give you a little hint of what the score is. The Knicks scored in the second quarter what the Hawks have scored in the half.
Okay, yeah. But I mean, New York trying to win their fan base back. I understand.
Well, they've got a ways to go for that.
All right.
It may not even be in my lifetime. I mean, it's there's a lot going on with New York other than the talent on the floor. It starts at the very top.
Yeah. Is Phil Jackson still there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, can't blame this on Phil either.
Yeah, I was going to say.
This is definitely an ownership issue. But we're glad to have you on this week, and so that we can talk about NBA. Now, the season has just started. Obviously, it's still early, but as far as the pundits are concerned, I think they're already trying to decide who looks like they're going to win it all, given the fact they don't have anything else better to do. But So we thought we would drill down, get you, the guru himself, on the line. And where would you like to start? The East, the West?
Well, since I'm talking to the wonderful people out west, we got to start with the West first.
Okay.
I like it.
All right, man. I mean, it's obviously there's only been a couple of games played. Golden State, they came out and they won, got their rings.
Right,
Congratulations, by the way, to the Warriors. But it's definitely not going to be an easy mission in the West this year, as it has been over the last couple of years. But let's face it, Houston had the Warriors. They had them exactly where they wanted them.
Pinned down.
Yeah. And, once again, it's unfortunately for CP3, it's usual playoff, tight series. Let me get hurt.
Right.
Let me get hurt. I know, right? They got to play him like what's his name coaching, Popovich or something, just let him go in spurts or whatever.
Yeah, if as far as Clipper fans were concerned, they just looked at it and said, I've read this script before. We know how this movie ends.
Yeah.
Right, pretty much. And honestly, I think they took a step down from last year because I think on my team right now, I would rather have Ariza than Carmelo any day because Ariza plays defense.
Here.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, unless they're going to have two balls out there.
Right. Carmelo, he might slip into the Hall of Fame, but I still think right in this day and age, he's a better player.
Yeah, to me, Trevor Ariza is a much better player. I actually had a chance to watch him in his senior year at Westchester High School, and he had already committed to UCLA, and I saw him in the LA City finals, and he was a man among boys then. He looked like he didn't belong there. He looked like he belonged in college, and he's always been kind of one of these underrated guys, and for whatever reason, and I think that the Carmelo experiment is going to last throughout the year because there's nothing they can really do with him.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's going to be a wrap, and I think the proof will be in the pudding. I don't think that they're going to win the West, not by a long shot, and I think it's going to be all about nothing.
Yeah, man. I know one team is feeling a lot better this year. OKC, we're not having him on the roster.
Yeah, these guys just keep bouncing between Houston and Oklahoma and Houston. It's kind of a strange. It's like those are the only two teams that swapping players.
Right.
But I think that Golden State is still the team to beat.
I do too. I like Golden State as a team to beat. You're definitely the team to beat. I think I want to see really what your guy is going to do in Utah this year, second year, sophomore year. See if he keep up the same intensity. Donovan Mitchell. I really, honestly though, I'm gonna tell you a team I really like, man. And I just mentioned them, OKC, because I like Paul George, man. Paul George is like, I think this is the year to take it to another level, man. He got a great game on him.
Yeah, Paul
and
is
I like Scooter.
Solid player. He was a solid player with Indianapolis, and I think he could only help that OKC team. Again, as long as the emphasis is just not on one guy in OKC, I think they need to spread the ball around a lot more. And if otherwise you expect him to come out and beat everybody every night and average a triple-double. I just don't think I think that's asking way too much of one guy.
Yeah, and it's proven it doesn't really pan out in the end. It's good for the stat record and history and everything, but that doesn't get you to the championship as it's shown 2 years straight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So would you? So that's your team. So your team in the West would be OKC. Is that what you're saying, or are you just saying they're going to be better?
Oh, I'm just saying they're going to be better. I think they're going to be better this year. Now I don't know if y'all noticed, my favorite team is the Hawks. Well, my second favorite team are the LA Lakers.
Hey.
And I got a controversy because you got Latinos out there and everything. And so I really don't want to root for him, but I do respect LeBron James a lot more now for all the things he's done off the court. So I can't do nothing but tip my hat to him and ride with him because he is the greatest out there now.
You know, look, I grew up a Laker fan. I mean, you know, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, you know, Will Chamberlain, going to the sports arena as a kid, watching games, you know, blue and white Laker gear. And then when they moved to the Forum, et cetera, I'll always be a Laker fan. It's been difficult to watch in the last few years. Which
it's been great to watch them.
Well, lucky for me, Dish Network didn't provide Laker games unless they were on national TV. So I had an excuse really not to, you know, kind of run out and hunt and find them and, you know, but signing LeBron was absolutely huge. It's going to change it's obviously changed the chemistry, but it's going to change the whole dynamic of this team. You know, it can't help. They're going to be a much better team. You know, what they do, I think that it's, to say that they'll go deep in the playoffs this year is asking a lot. You know, but next year I think that, you know, this team will probably attract some additional free agents. And they've got a really young group of players there on that team. And I'll always be a Laker fan. Unlike, you know, I mean, I don't run around hating teams like, you know, certain people.
They're sitting next to you.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't have far to look for a Laker hater. I mean, he's here with me every week.
I might not hate them this year. As a matter of fact, I was actually thinking about betting them tomorrow. They play Portland at Portland. It's going to be an emotional game, obviously, for Portland.
Yeah.
With Paul Allen passing away, the owner of the Trailblazers, and that when you're talking about Paul Allen, you're talking about a quality guy.
Yeah.
You know, he was diagnosed with cancer. He stepped away from his job and really started doing a lot of philanthropy.
Yeah.
Started, you know, working all around the world. You know, donating billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
You know, when I was watching a program that had a little bit of the stuff he did, I literally got a tear in my eye because it wasn't just about him passing; it was about a good man.
Yeah.
You know, somebody that was making an impact and using his wealth and everything that he had to actually better the world.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, just shout out to his family, man, and prayers go out to them. I mean, that's a tough loss, and you know, cancer gets another one, man, which is pretty sad.
Yeah, it is, and not that old a guy either.
No.
I mean, you know, early 60s, I think.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, of course, he's the owner of the Seattle Seahawks as well. Yeah, so it's, you know, there's you know, it's going to be a very emotional night for the people up in Portland. I think the Lakers are going to come away with a win. They're going to be, to me, they'll be the most improved team in the West for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will be.
Yeah, in terms of teams that are just really, I don't think are going to do well at all. Yeah, you don't have to look far as far as your Lakers are concerned. That's just across the hall to the LA Clippers. I think that they're going to have to probably just retool that entire team.
Yeah.
From the top down.
Yeah. Definitely gonna have to be. They're gonna go probably the Clippers of old, have a little fight in them, you know, but. They're not going to – I don't think they're going to make too much noise. The competition looks too heavy out there. There's too many superstars out in that area. The team, they have to play just – maybe they was in the East, maybe a better chance, but out in the West, they just like bait, target practice and stuff.
Well, the problem is that window of opportunity passed.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're up 3-1 against the Rockets. You know, you're seemingly – and then what happens? CP3 gets hurt, Griffin gets hurt, and then bang, series is over.
Right.
You just don't get those opportunities every year, but seemingly the Clippers seem to, for within that 3-year span, did have those opportunities, and every single year something happened.
Yeah.
You know, and now, of course, you know, it's like, you know, well, there's just kind of with dealing CP3, dealing Griffin. This team is about ready to finally just blow up, and I think with the owner Ballmer,
yes,
you know, I think that he's probably seen enough. And, you know, he paid top dollar for this team. And it's now time to, you know, for him to, you know, to spend his money elsewhere. I don't know what kind of a coach you bring in, but it's going to be probably a 2 or 3 year process. But, you know, this is probably it as far as this team is concerned.
Well, I'm looking at the over-under win totals for the West. And obviously Golden State is the favorite at 63.5 wins, which I could see them actually hitting that. The next team behind that is 55.5, which is the Houston Rockets, which a little bit surprises me.
Yeah.
And and I do think they're going to be a solid team, but there's a lot going on in Houston.
Yeah.
You know, for them to pull out those type of wins. So we'll see what happens with that. On the East side, we have 55 wins also for the Toronto Raptors, and then 58 wins for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And then your squad, 48.5 wins for the Lakers. So that's a 50-win season. I mean, if they can come around and win 50 wins,
that's vastly improved. Yeah. You know, 48 to 50 wins, you'll make the playoffs.
Yep.
Even in the West, you know, I mean, you'll make the playoffs. The East, you know, I'm not sure if you want to start with your Hawks, but you can start wherever you would like, Torrance.
Well, I'll definitely say, you know, the Hawks are my choice in the Eastern Division. You know, we're definitely going to make it to the playoffs. That's what I'm claiming that we're going to make it to the playoffs. Just surprise everybody. Trey is going to turn the league around. Going to bring a lot of attention down there. And about 2 or 3 years from now, we'll have some more superstars down there. But I think the Hawks have a good group of young players, and I still like the what's the young guy? I can't remember his name right now. That's Collins. Collins is he's a center, but he's more like a power forward. I like him. He got a good game in the post, real athletic, and he got a lot of heart.
Hey, well, if you do really like that for them making the playoffs, their win total is only 23.5. So, I mean, and you know, honestly, you don't even have to be 500 in the East. We already know that. You know that those
23 won't get you into play.
23 won't. But you only need to probably win maybe 38 games, 36 games.
Between 35 and 40.
Yeah.
You'll get that 8 spot.
About 44, 42.
That's it.
Oh, that's 44 is over 500. I mean,
that's a and that's a lofty goal.
That's like third place in the.
That's a lofty goal. You know, I think that I think it's probably going to boil down to the Raptors and the Celtics.
Probably.
In the East,
Sixers as well.
And the Sixers as well. But you know, the way Washington finished strong last year, you know, the way the Indiana finished strong.
Yeah.
The team, it's not so much as a team in as much as it's an individual. And I got to get your take from you guys. This whole Jimmy Butler thing in Minnesota.
I love it.
I mean, you know, what's up with this? I mean, I'll let you guys go first because I'm opinionated as far as this is concerned.
I think. Well, from what I heard and what I watched and everything with Jimmy Butler, he just pretty much is saying that Big Cat and Wiggins are soft. They don't really they're more playing for the money versus actually playing for the love of the game. And it's going like in practices and stuff like that. And I just kind of being lackadaisy out there on the court when everybody knows one player. Well, everybody don't know this, but one player I do respect is Jimmy Butler because Jimmy Butler came in the league as a defensive player, but now he's an offensive juggernaut, so he's a two-way player. And he plays with a lot of intensity. He's like a throwback player. So his pretty much claim is that he's telling Thibodeau, I can't get along with these guys. They're not playing to the same level that I would like us to play to be a competitor. And so that's the beef right now.
No, there's no doubt about it. And when you have somebody like Jimmy Butler, who is a leader, going in there and just kind of taking command of practice. I mean, that's exactly what Minnesota needs. You know, they need somebody to go in there and push these young guys because the bottom line is they've kind of just fell off and further and further off. And one of the things I don't like about the NBA is there's such a chasm between the really good teams and the really bad teams. You know, I mean, the really bad teams are really bad and the really good teams are good, you know, so it's like half the time you're watching basketball and I'm like, this is terrible. I mean, it's terrible to even think these guys are pros, which is the reason why I've always been a college basketball fan. It's just a lot more exciting to me. And, you know, talking about the East just for a second, Kawhi Leonard, 21 points. Toronto's up 20 on the Cavaliers, who I think is a team that might struggle to go 500 without LeBron.
Yeah, it's going to be tough in Cleveland this year. Yeah. No doubt about it. There's going to be a significant drop off.
Yeah.
You know, you know, here's things that people say that drive me up the wall.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say it, and I didn't mean to do it. those are two of the biggest lies that people will share with you. Yes, you know exactly what words came out of your mouth. Right. When they come out of your mouth, you choose them carefully. And then when you act up, you know, you did it for a reason. You know, you made a conscious decision to do this. You know, he made it very clear he didn't want to be there. He made it very public, as opposed to just dealing with the ownership, he, his agent, and the owners, and just saying, look, you know, get me out of here. I need to do, you know, I need to be elsewhere. I don't like these guys, blah, 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 blah. He's made it very, very public. They didn't move. Then he goes to practice and he shows his natural ass out. Look, you know, and I always hear this, oh, he's just competitive. This is his competitive nature. He's this, is that. Bullshit. You know, you, first of all, you know, you have to choose your audience, your target audience. He figured out, you know, I don't think there's anybody in here that, you know, may have a propensity to go upside my head.
Right.
So he chose his audience well, and the fact that nobody reacted tells me they probably are soft.
Yeah.
You know, so
no.
You know, so yeah, he did it, but going forward, would you want this guy in your locker room?
Yeah.
As an owner and as a coach, more importantly, as a teammate.
Yes.
And you know,
I mean, have to have a sit. I
looking at it
down
from
with my best players, Bill.
Yeah.
But if we had to sit down, had lunch, and say, hey, well, brother, I'll bring. You say he comes to the house, I'm bringing Bird, I'm bringing Dominique Wilkins, and maybe Doc Rivers, and Grant Hill, everybody that's affiliated with the Hawks, and we're gonna have a serious conversation at the table. And if he try to pull these type of antics and undermining the system that we have, and whoever we choose as a star player or the go-through guy, if he can't adapt to that, then he has to go. He won't make the team.
Well, you know, so where is he at now? He's on a roster on a team. I think they open up tonight.
Yep.
That he doesn't want to be around. And then they cancel practice the next day. He doesn't travel for the last preseason game. You know, now it's that kind of the 500-pound elephant in the room. You know, it's not like, oh great, we got upcoming season, we're so looking forward to it. No, we've got this guy who doesn't want to be here. He arguably may be our best player. He has made a scene, and this is all anybody is talking about. And there's just ways to handle things. You're supposed to be a professional. You accuse somebody of being in it for the money. I am quite sure that Jimmy Butler is not in it because he's not in it for the money. He's just in it for the excitement, for the first class travel. Okay.
Well, if you look what happened to Isaiah Thomas, he was playing for Boston, which he loved.
Yeah.
He gets traded to Lakers, which he hated.
Yeah.
And boom, he was gone.
Yeah.
So I kind of foresee something like that happening, where they finally just get to a point where they don't even want this guy here. And you know what? Honestly, it's not even cold in Minnesota yet. Wait till he gets cold.
Wait till it gets to be winter, yeah.
And then he's gonna really be hating Minnesota.
Minnesota used to be that dumping ground.
Right.
If you finally wanted to really let a player know how pissed off you are with him, out the door, and I go to one person, Antoine James. No, it was Antoine Walker.
Yeah, Antoine Walker.
When finally, Pat Riley got tired of him putting on 30, 40 pounds in the off season, saying that, his neighbors knew at 5 or 6 o'clock because that Domino truck was pulling up to his house, and he finally got fed up with it and said, we're not only trading you, but we're trading you to Minnesota. That was it.
So we got about 5 more minutes. So we talked a little bit about the NFL last week in the Atlanta Falcons. Explain to me how you're feeling at the end of that game, because I'm
gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you what's crazy, because I actually was working. It was unfortunate, and so I heard we won. When manager came in, so I like, that must be that Bird. And we won. He's like, yeah. So I sit down after a long day's work and watch the highlights on YouTube. This time they show 11 minutes of all the important highlights.
Right. And
I was like, hold on, how did we win this game? Because it looked like we about to lose. And I seen that play. I'm like, hold on. I seen it out my peripheral, through the peripheral of the screen. I'm like, hey, he open over there.
Yep.
I said, if he would caught that ball, they would have had to actually throw him out of bounds and knock the ball out of his hand, because he could have extended his arm. He was that close.
Yes.
So I appreciate the win, but we got to do better than that.
Well, I was looking. I was actually watching the end of that game, and when I saw the ball going to to Jackson, I was like, he's going to score. Yeah. You know, because it was bouncing, and I'm like, if he picks that up, he's got like 5 yards. That's like a burst for him. You know, to get 15 feet, he could have just dove at the pylon. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to lose right now. And you know, of course, I like the over in that game, the over game and easy. But to watch that as an Atlanta fan, you must have been like.
Here we go again.
Start cussing, you know.
Hey, I thought I got it wrong, Jeff. I promise you. I thought we won because I said he about to score. Because I thought the ball was in his hand. It was so crazy, but then it showed it bounce. That bounce saved him.
Yeah.
The bounce saved us. The bounce saved us. You know.
Well, that's the thing about the football, man. I mean,
the way the ball bounces, literally.
It takes that little bounce and.
Literally. You're right. That was a close game.
Yeah, good game.
That could have went either way.
So, go ahead.
Oh, and I was just saying, as far as the upcoming games, man, we just got to play tough, man, all around, make better plays. Man, Ryan is actually playing real good. Woodley's playing good. Everybody's playing good. Just the defense has to continue to get more experience and playing tough on defense. What we really have to do is make the right adjustments. That's one thing I commend the Patriots for, and a lot of other good teams. They can make the great coaches make great adjustments at the right time. And I'm not a fan of no Sean Payton, but he made one of the greatest calls against the Colts in the Super Bowl and won because of that, and made the right
onside kick.
Sometimes,
oh yeah.
Well, sometimes we just have to kind of get outside the box.
Well, the good news for Atlanta fans is you play the Giants this week. Because the Giants are really bad. And honestly, I'm not really sure how they're going to be able to contain Barkley, because Barkley is absolutely just kind of beasting out. And with the way that Atlanta, I'm sorry?
Baby Berry.
Yeah. The way that Atlanta's defense playing, it's going to be an interesting game on Monday night. But I look at that being a high-scoring game, too, because the Giants are due to bust out. Atlanta's offense is playing really well, in my opinion. I mean, if they didn't have to settle for some field goals in that game, they probably would have easily put up 45 or more points, but they had to settle for some field goals.
Yeah.
So that is going to be my overplay of the week. Will be the Giants and Atlanta Monday night.
You know, it's an opportunity for Odell Beckham to show out because it's Monday night. It means it's a marquee game. Everybody, all your counterparts around the NFL have the night off and are sitting around watching you. And this is usually when he does his best, act up. So, look for him to, they'll target him, I'm sure, a lot. But, as far as the Falcons are concerned, just, I hope you guys do a number on him. I really do.
Well, that and the fact that he got called out by Mara, the owner of the Giants this week.
Yeah.
Just told him to shut up and play or,
essentially that.
Well, yeah, he did say that, but I guess what the actual comment was less talking, more playing.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good way to.
And that's kind of a diplomatic way of saying, look, are you really helping us or hurting? Look, here's the thing. You know what you were getting.
Yeah.
Okay, everything that led up to them signing this massive contract for him, did he ever exhibit any kind of behavior that said, this guy is a leader?
Yeah.
This guy is a man among men. This guy is a true professional. Did any of those? It's like you marry an alcoholic, and on the way from the wedding, she wants to stop at the liquor store, and you're like, what? Huh?
You surprised?
You mean you drink?
Well, I will tell you this, that I said that Baker Mayfield was going to get drafted by the Giants. I'm not saying I'm GM material, but it's very clear that Eli Manning is done. So maybe that's what they should have done.
Yeah, although
I love Barkley. I think he's great. I think he's playing really well.
Well, they at the very least, they need to protect Manning.
Yeah.
He's not getting any younger. He's certainly not getting any faster.
Yep.
And you have to at least,
he's getting murdered.
You knew that going into that, so you've got to protect him, especially on his blind side.
I don't know who I feel more sorry for, either him or Derek Carr, because Derek Carr has like 0.3 seconds to get rid of the ball, and it's like, I'm not talking about one guy on top of him. There's like 3 or 4 guys coming in. It's like the whole offensive line is trash.
We now know that the worst team in the NFL is the Oakland Raiders.
I believe so.
Yeah. The Bills are no longer the worst team in the NFL.
I think Bills got a great defense. I mean, honestly, I think they beat the Colts this weekend, even with the backup quarterback. You know, which kind of bums me out because I really like to see the young guy get up there and play, but it's going to be tough without him.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, needless to say, Torrance, you know, as we always want to do, we want to find out how to reach you, especially as far as food is concerned.
All right. Well, you can reach me at Chef Hall Specialties _79, and also at just one taste. _1_taste.
Beautiful.
All right.
And you know what? I saw the salad that you guys put on there today. You're gonna definitely be cooking me something when next time you come out, man. Because I'm looking at this salad like salad. Delicious.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, they're great too. They're great too. Definitely looking for things to take off, you know, and just staying persistent and consistent on it.
I appreciate it.
All right, man. Well, listen, we appreciate it as always, Torrance. And needless to say, go Atlanta. And
go Atlanta, indeed. You know, all the time. Rise up to the end.
That's it, man. All right, we really appreciate it, brother. You take care of yourself.
All right, thank guys.
Take care.
You all too. Take care.
All right. Our man in the ATL, Torrance Hall.
That's a diehard, though, because sometimes it's tough. I mean, Atlanta's down 20 right now with 30 seconds to go in the third, and that's tough.
That is tough. Yeah, but then again, weirder things have happened in the Garden. So you know, all you need is you know, it is, you know, a few 3-pointers, you're back in it.
Yep.
And of course, it would just absolutely devastate New York. But well, you know, you get what you pay for. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to switch gears. Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. We'll be right back.
The golf store you've been waiting for is now open. Bob Allen Golf is ready to help you take your game to the next level. Bob Allen Golf is located at 6415 South Fort Apache, Las Vegas 89148. Choose your favorite clubs from our selection of Bridgestone, Callaway, Cleveland, XXIO, Srixon, Ping, Wilson, and more. We'll custom fit them in our state-of-the-art full-swing golf simulator. Come hang out with us and practice on our putting green to find out which club is perfect for you. Have your clubs repaired, reshafted, and regripped in our on-site tour shop. And talk about accessories. Guys and gals will feel comfortable and look sharp in the many sizes, colors, and options of apparel from Greg Norman, Black Clover, Under Armour, and more. The team at Bob Allen Golf takes your game as seriously as you do. Join our online family at BobAllenGolf.com and stop in the store to meet us. Remember, at Bob Allen Golf, your game is in the bag.
We are back, round 2, Southern Nevada Sports News, coming to you from WWDBTV.com. My name is Bill Miller, co-host along with
Jeff Belknap.
And when I mentioned to you we were going to be switching gears, we are indeed. We are very fortunate to have on with us, calling in the head coach of the UNLV women's basketball team, head coach Kathy Oliver. Coach, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Hey.
Kathy Olivier, yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Jesus. Well, Coach Olivier, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us.
Listen, that means we're not winning enough championships if you are calling me Oliver still. I'm okay with it, though. Let's go.
Well, if you run into Coach Oliver, tell him I said hi. Well, you know, we can actually understand that you're either just wrapping up practice or you're still in practice?
We're still in practice.
My goodness.
We look good for some part, but we need to be more consistent, so we're going a little longer.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, well, listen, you know, we really appreciate it because we know that you're getting ready for the upcoming season. And, you know, we're very happy to have you on. We've never had a head coach of either the men or women's basketball team on the show. So we're breaking new ground here. So thank you very much.
So how's the beginning of the season looking? You guys are wrapping up the practices. You're about a month away from tip-off for the regular season. How are we looking this year?
Well, you know what? We have 6 seniors back, so we're excited about that. When you have 6 seniors and you have a lot of your nucleus back, you feel like you can do more and you can do more early. So we look really good at times, and then sometimes I have, 3 or 4 new ones, and we're getting them to just kind of fit in and learn the philosophy, learn the system, defensive system, and the offensive system. But right now, I think we might be a little ahead of the game. But again, it's so early; we have a lot to learn, and I'm excited for the season and the games to start. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So you guys are coming off a big season where you qualified for the tournament. I mean, how does that make you feel when you have these guys or these girls really that are coming back, seniors coming back that have already like kind of established a winning attitude? I mean, how does that leadership transpire into 2018?
Well, I love that you asked that because we talk about leadership every day. It's always about leadership in here. And again, when you have 6 seniors, you better have some good leadership. They're very vocal on the floor. And as much as it's about basketball, it's really about things off the floor, too. Like provide good leadership off the floor. Make sure that everyone's on the same page and in every little thing, again, on and off the floor. So we did some good things last year, won a Mountain West Conference championship. We're super proud of that. And now we have a target on our back. So we got to make sure that we're just stepping up this year and doing all the little things really, really well.
So I'm looking at your schedule, and you guys aren't really dodging anybody here. I'm like, wow, there's some really serious competition on this schedule. I mean, that says a lot to me about your confidence in this squad to go up against the SCs and the Dukes and squads like that. I mean, how do these ladies take in that when they see the schedule?
Well, it's funny that you ask because everyone's talking about it in town. Like, people think that we're a little bit off our rocker, but you know what? It's good for us. Our team likes a challenge. I think it gets us ready for the conference. Last year we had some unbelievable competition. We went to Gonzaga. We beat them in front of 8,000. We played Stanford. They whooped us, but again, it was a good challenge for us, and it got us really, really prepared for the Mountain West. So that's kind of what we're doing again this year. We go to Duke. We have USC at home. Gonzaga returns. We have a great Christmas tournament with, I'm trying to think who's in our Christmas tournament. I can't think right now. I want to say Middle Tennessee. I mean, just constant challenges time after time. So, again, it better get us ready for Mountain West. That's what we're trying to do. We're going to repeat and try to win another conference championship.
Beautiful. So we were talking a little bit. We saw each other a couple weeks ago at UNLV at a kids tournament, which was a lot of fun. I brought some kids out there, and we really had a good time with that. You spoke a little bit and had some of the girls out there to kind of meet the young kids, and it was a boys and girls tournament, so it was really fun. But we were talking about, you know, what kind of programs and you know, like to get the people involved. I mean, what are some of the deals that the UNLV basketball is bringing in to bring the fans in?
Well, Jeff, you know, you were there and you were supporting it was the Metro Police Department doing the 3-on-3 tournament for the kids. They did it right here at UNLV. It was in the rec center. It was so easy for us. So I brought out 6 of the Lady Rebels, and we all participated and kind of gave words of wisdom. The kids around the community love seeing the Lady Rebels. So we do that. We'll go to elementary schools. We'll do reading. I'm going to some Rotary clubs this year. We go, at the end of the season, we'll go to middle schools, and we'll do basketball clinics for the middle schools. They love that. So we're always trying to get involved. If it was, you know, 5K run, we do the finish line and meet the people at the finish line. Like, we're always trying to get involved with the community. It's so important to us to do whatever we can for the people in Las Vegas. It's just a big part of what the Lady Rebels are about, and I'm really proud of that.
I love it.
You know what we're doing this week, though? I don't know if you guys know, but on Friday, before the football game, we have the first look. And that's, again, on Friday, before the football game, they're bringing out the court. They're going to put up a wood court at Sam Boyd in the parking lot.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
The men and the women, yes. At 5:30 at Sam Boyd, it's the men and the women, and it's just the first look. So get to know the Running Rebels, get to know the Lady Rebels. We're going to do some shooting and do some fan interaction, and I think it's going to be a blast. So 5:30 Sam Boyd Stadium on Friday night. It's going to be fun.
That's awesome. And a rare Friday night kickoff for the football team.
Yeah.
That should be a lot
Crazy.
of fun. So, anything happening with the tickets and to get some people in? I know we discussed a little bit about, you know, bringing in some of the students. I mean, is that still happening with the UNLV basketball?
So with tickets, we go 12 and under are free for kids. And then this year we're doing any student, high school, middle school, UNLV student, you bring your ID and you get in free. And I think that's going to be fun. We're just trying to get the student support. If it's high school or if it's, the UNLV students, we're going to the dorms, Dykstra dorm, Tonopah dorm. And, again, really hitting up the students and hoping for their support this year. Oh,
that's beautiful. I mean, because it's not just the 12 and under. You're talking about any high school student. Obviously, there's going to be support from UNLV. And one stat that I saw that I didn't know before today was the record for UNLV women's basketball is actually they win 60% of the time, which is pretty astounding to me. I mean, I was actually kind of shocked by that because it's not really on the forefront of UNLV sports, but they're constantly and consistently good teams. Yeah.
Well, I love that you're saying that. I didn't really even know that, so I love that you know that. I mean, we're trying to beat everybody. I'll tell you, every game is really important to us. We try, I'm not going to say we try. We work really hard to represent the community, represent UNLV. So we're going to work our butts off, and hopefully we can get out, more fans. It's just fun when you have a good crowd and the fans are into it, and they're kind of your sixth player. We love it. So hopefully we'll see you guys at some games, okay?
Absolutely. Who should we be looking at on the Lady Rebel teams? I mean, who are your standout players?
Okay, another good one. I got all kinds of seniors. We have Katie Powell, who was up for Player of the Year. She's a 6'4" player, post player. We have Paris Strother, who's a local, who is just a worker. She's a senior post player. We have Nikki Wheatley, she reminds me of a female Russell Westbrook. She's so quick, so explosive, so strong. Jordan Bell's playing well. Like, there's a lot of people that you can say, wow, what about her? What about her? So there's a lot of people out here, and hopefully, again, you guys will come watch this play. But
Absolutely.
I got to run. I'm going to go last the end of practice, and I'm loving this, though, so much. Thank you for calling me, you guys.
All right, one more question before you go, because I know you have to get back to practice. How does the Las Vegas Aces coming in with the WNBA team change your strategy as a college program?
Well, it's interesting. They work out in our gym, which is amazing. So they work out in our gym, and because we let them use our facility, they said, you know what, we're going to build you a whole new locker room. Beautiful. So they built us a 250,000 locker room, the MGM, which are the Las Vegas Aces. And you see these girls working, you see them, pushing, you see them getting in extra shots. It's just going to make you better as a college player to see the professionals do what they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we love it.
Well, Coach.
All right, you guys, we're going to see you at some games.
You got it. Thank you so much for joining us, Coach. We really appreciate it. And good. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to the upcoming season.
All right, man. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, head coach Kathy Olivier.
Wow, we got her for like almost 15 minutes.
Yeah, she was currently in practice. So this is we really appreciate her taking the time. We could hear it in the background. And, it's her 10th season coming up, but we didn't get a chance to really touch bases. She spent 15 years as a coach at UCLA. Yep. Yeah, so, I didn't get a chance to talk some Bruin basketball with her. But the fact is, again, it's the first time we've had either of the men or women's head coach on the show. And, looking at her record overall, which is over 500, the 25 years that she's been coaching. And so hats off to Coach Olivier and her staff, and we really wish them the very best of luck.
Well, I'll tell you, just watching the development of this program, and, she's talking about, some local players. Paris, whose brother also plays basketball. I mean, just a basketball family.
Yeah.
When you see these
Liberty High.
Yeah, when you see these players coming up, there's just so much talent in the Vegas area, and finally they're starting to recognize that they don't have to necessarily go out of state to get these guys, these players. All of the sports are concentrating a little bit more on the local athletes, and it's just exciting to watch.
Yeah. And again, it's the women's program tends to be overshadowed by the men's.
Yes.
And I think that's because of the history and the tradition of men's basketball at UNLV. It kind of put UNLV on the map as far as the school is concerned.
Well, when you win a national championship, I mean, that's gonna that's going to just boost you up to the highest level.
Yeah. But, I was also glad, to see that the Aces, wrote a check to help out the school as far as getting a new locker room for the women's team. Mm-hmm. And that's working out. But she's absolutely right, for her players to see the pros working out, what they do to get where they're at, but also to stay where they're at.
Right.
It's got to go a long ways.
Well, I mean, what happens a lot, because there's so few WNBA teams, what happens a lot is when the college women's players come out, they very often have to go to overseas to play. So, yeah. and honestly, they get paid more over there.
Yes,
so a lot of them actually go over there to actually make some money. And what happened to the Aces, which ended up being tough because it really came down to the end of the season whether they were going to qualify for the playoffs, is a couple of the players were actually playing in Europe, in the beginning of the season, so they actually missed the first few games, which kind of caused a little bit of a rough start for the Aces, which at the end of the year ended up being the games that they needed to actually get in. So hopefully it'll be a little bit different this year with the Aces.
Absolutely. But, so, the ticket prices, again, for the UNLV, as for the men as well, very competitive. Oh. Very reasonable, absolutely. Very family-oriented as far as the ticket prices are concerned.
Well, I mean, if you look at it from the standpoint, if you have a student, say you have 3 kids, right, and they're all students, and you would literally pay for 2 tickets.
Yeah.
So you're paying, $25-$30 to go to a game for the whole family. I mean, if it doesn't get more affordable than that, I don't know. Like, I just don't even know what else to say.
Yeah, it's and again, it's this is a team that won the Mountain West Conference last year, and they're returning 6 seniors this year. So I think there's a lot of great expectations as far as this team is concerned. Absolutely. And we're sure that Coach Olivier is going to have these ladies motivated.
Yep.
We saw some scores as far as baseball is concerned. Dodgers won earlier, 5-2, and now head back to Milwaukee up 3-2.
Right.
And so here's hoping that the Dodgers win one more and get back to the World Series. As bizarre as this may sound, the last thing I saw the Dodgers going is to the World Series this year, especially around the All-Star break.
Yeah.
It was not looking well at all. It was looking kind of bleak.
Well, I mean, the fact that the Colorado was playing so well, and Dodgers were just kind of treading water in a sense. I mean, they were just barely there, but I mean, Boston just mowing through people.
Yeah.
And I believe they're up again tonight. Already up 2-1 in the series, up 3-1 right now. So they could potentially go up 3-1 with in Houston.
Yeah.
And, closing it out in Houston. I mean, kind of a little bit surprised by that, or
very. I mean, this is Astros team that has not had any trouble putting runs up, and their pitching has been pretty stellar. Other than the fact that Boston had a fantastic year.
Yeah.
The Astros had a great year.
Yeah, 200-win teams.
And so I just somehow it's still early, top of the third, but it is 3-1 Boston. Astros have got to win this game.
Yeah.
They really do, and I think they win this game, they probably win the series. They lose this game. Yeah, it's
going to be good. I mean, either way. I mean, this is the time. If you're not a baseball fan, it's a long season. It's a lot of games to watch. We're talking about the last, 7-8 games of the year.
Yes,
is right now
pretty much.
So,
by the end of October, the World Series, one way or the other, is going to be over.
Yeah.
It is not going into November this year. I'm going to
root for you. I'm going to pull the Dodgers.
I appreciate that.
I might maybe put a hat on. And just so you know, my whole family are Dodger fans because we're so close to LA. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a Tigers fan.
Yeah, and always will be.
My whole family is Dodger fans.
Well, you're from the D.
And honestly, I don't dislike the Dodgers. I mean, I do dislike the Lakers. If you watch the show, you know that.
Yes, he does.
But I am going to root for him tomorrow night. I'm going to root for LeBron to at least cover the 3 anyway.
On some local news, and hats off to the Las Vegas Lights Football Club for signing Eric Winalda as their head coach.
That's big.
And I recall watching Eric play for the U.S. men's national team. He was always a solid player. He does have a history of playing in the MLS. And I think if there's a coach that could get them to the next level, and that is the MLS, I think he's probably the guy to do it.
Well, we're hoping to have Brett on. I've reached out to the people over there, and you know what? I made a mistake because I actually reached out to the people. I just need to call Brett.
Yeah.
Because Brett is very approachable. The only owner that I've ever seen that's as approachable as he is, he's actually a fantastic guest. He loves Las Vegas. He loves the whole concept. Next year, they get the stadium to themselves. I mean, it's going to be a huge.
The field is to themselves. They no longer have to reconfigure for baseball.
That's right.
And at the same time, it's congratulations to the 51s because they'll be moving into their new digs.
With a new pro team, the Oakland A's, which I believe is going to be our team. I think we're going to actually get the Oakland A's.
You really believe so?
Well,
Come
on. How pissed, excuse my language, would you be if you were in Oakland and we basically take both of your teams from you?
Yeah, I think that they could get really ugly really fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to take the Raiders because you always hold out that they'll probably at some point bounce back.
Yeah.
You build a new stadium in Oakland, and they'll be sniffing around. Because it's in the Davis DNA. They're always looking for your next big deal and where to move this team to.
Well, the bottom line is they have to build a stadium in Oakland.
Yes.
They learned a lesson from Oakland leaving, and now Oakland, just like from what I've heard, doesn't even want them to be there next year. So they might have to relocate just for 1 year before they come to Vegas, just because of all the bad blood that's going on.
Here comes Sam Boyd. Get ready.
No, they'd never happen. They'd be better off playing at like Fess Park. Yeah, Gorman. They could probably play there. So I haven't been giving out my picks. That's something that I did last year. I gave away my picks all last week. But I hit an 8-team teaser last week, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling excited about this. So I'm going to give you guys another teaser this week.
Dun, dun, dun.
So this is where we're going to go. We're going to take – I really like Michigan. Michigan's defense was incredible against Wisconsin. I don't know if you saw the stat. The Wisconsin quarterback, Holbrook, completed his first 2 passes. Then he went 0 for 15 after that. And then finally completed like a 30-yard pass. Literally threw for like 60 yards for the game. They were just absolutely dominant. They were breaking backs in that backfield. Michigan State is completely dominated. Won 8 out of 10 from Michigan. D'Antonio 11-0 against the spread. So I'm going to stay away from that game. That's why I'm telling you all that, just because of all that. But here's my 6-team teaser. Take it to the bank.
Take it to the bank.
Ohio State absolutely crushes this week with the teaser action. You're going to get it at about -7. Oklahoma -1 against TCU. I like the Eagles plus points when you take it with the teaser against the Panthers. Panthers just really didn't play that well to me in a game that I believe they should have won last week. The over in the Saints and Ravens game is 43 when you take it on the teaser. That is like unbelievably low. I mean, the Saints offense has been on fire.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of figuring that the Ravens have the number 1 defense right now, and they're going to be able to stop Breeze. I think it's going to be a shootout because I think that the Ravens can score points.
I think they can,
especially
too.
against the Saints defense.
Absolutely. It's going to be take the over, whatever it is.
Right. It's 49 with the teaser. It'll be around 43, and then of course do what you do on every single Monday night or Sunday night game. You always throw the last game on there. You can get Atlanta just at a pick'em with that last game, but I didn't skip one. Cal is -7 in the game, which I love, against an Oregon State team that has not even shown up this whole year. But when you tease that, you're teasing it basically that Cal's just going to win the game. It is at Oregon State, which makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah,
but they're not a good team at all.
Well, with being up there, it's in Corvallis. This means it's going to be wet and it's going to be cold.
Probably.
And Cal is a kind of a sunny California type team.
I just can't see. I'm not really betting Cal. I'm betting against
Oregon
State.
You're betting that Oregon State is just a bad
they're just
team.
really not good. But the other team is when I saw the line, even though this game is in Purdue, I saw the line at Ohio State -13.5, I believe it is.
Yeah.
They literally are going to probably destroy them.
They are.
So when you look at the first half action in that game, possibly you're probably going to be able to get it about 8.5 or 9. That might be a great play. Ohio State -9 or so in the first half.
All right.
Take it to the bank.
Take it to the bank.
Love it.
The resident prognosticator himself,
coming out of the shell for one.
Jeff Belknap coming out, and I think now we're going to have to start getting these picks every week.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how they do. If they win, I'll give you guys one next week. If they lose, just delete. That's part of the show.
Well, as usual, folks, we're at the end of the show. The hour just blows by. I'd like to really thank our guest today, Torrance Hall, our man from the ATL, NBA guru. Great to have him on. Second week in a row, and this time to actually talk about the NBA. Yep. And, of course, a very strange Atlanta Falcon win. And we'd like to really thank head coach Kathy Olivier of the UNLV women's basketball team. She actually took time out of practice tonight to talk to us. And their season will be coming. I think their first game is November 9th, I believe.
That's exactly it.
And they're not dodging anybody. Before the conference play starts, they're going to be playing USC, Duke, Hawaii, and Hawaii is actually part of the conference, but also a very pesky
Gonzaga.
Yeah. So they've got and I believe Santa Barbara as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So and again, thank you as fans of the show always for joining us every Wednesday. Join us next Wednesday, October 24th, 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I think it's still daylight time.
Yes.
For another installment of Southern Nevada Sports News coming to you from WWDBTV.com. Have a great week.
God bless.